Gabe, do you remember the moment when you were told you needed a transplant? Were you expecting it or not really?
Well, my father had a kidney transplant in 1983. So I always knew that, I mean, there's no cure for polycystic kidney disease. So I always knew that at some point I was going to, either have to go on dialysis or the end game was a kidney transplant, basically.
Yeah.
I always knew that that was somewhere in the future. Obviously didn't know that my husband was going to give me one of his, so I expected that I was going to be waiting on the waiting list. But yeah, I did always expect that I was going to have a transplant at some point. So there wasn't a real point where I went, oh no, I need to have a transplant. I sort of just always knew it.
Yeah. And I guess with that, how did you cope sort of mentally over the years knowing that was going to happen? Did you have much knowledge or did you look into it much prior to?
Well, yeah, but it's interesting because my knowledge of it was from, like 40 years ago when my father had it. So I would say things to my doctor about, I'd say, well, what if this happens? Like, what if things that I saw my father go through, and my doctor would say to me, oh, that doesn't happen anymore. Like that's 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So I suppose I kept relating it to what I saw when I was a kid, when my dad went through that sort of end stage and then the transplant and, the operation and everything. So I didn't feel too scared about it, to be honest. I think I was more scared of dialysis than an actual transplant. Yeah.